I discovered the joy of creating when I was a kid. I was pretty much, just at home. I had construction paper, pencils, markers, and I just used those materials to pass the time and create things that came to my mind, things that I was inspired by through the stories that I would listen to as part of story time in elementary school. Grew up in Hawaii, and that culture is really, it values the art of storytelling. And so that was just so woven into my elementary school days. One of my teachers, she had pointed out the illustrator of the book she was reading always included a squirrel. And I just thought it was so neat that this illustrator had her own unique style and she created it in her own way. So I had always wanted to try that out for myself. I had always turned to creativity as an outlet for expressing myself, recentering myself during stressful times, because I had a childhood that was turbulent at times with my parents' divorce. So it was always just an outlet to recenter me. My family had moved to the Philippines at one point, and then I discovered an outlet in writing. It was a way to escape from some of the tensions in that time, the difference in culture. My external world was really hard to navigate, so I processed all of that through writing, and I crafted my own stories through then. I had always balanced it out with the visual side of everything. It was another one of those things where I had that to myself. It wasn't about doing something for other people. It was a way to center myself. All of those experiences got me thinking about how I am just a naturally creative person, and so you don't think, oh, I'm gonna be creative for a living. A lot of people talk you down from that. So like the compromise I found was going into graphic and web design for a career. So when I graduated from college and I was about a year into the workforce, I found that it was more stressful than I expected. I needed an outlet for myself, and I had some leftover paint and canvases from college, and I turned to that, and I just decided to sit down one time and create for myself again and see what would happen. It was like I was rediscovering the joy of creating at that point, and it just lit something in me about myself being an artist, and ever since then I've wanted to honor that. I think what it means to be a believer and a faithful artist is it's always about communicating truth and redemption. And I also think it looks different if you're doing art professionally versus as a hobby. For one thing, it means doing high quality work. If you're doing a portrait for someone, for example, it means portraying them in a way that honors their likeness or their family, or it's even in the details of getting the work done on time. God shows up in my creative process in so many ways. Running a sustainable professional art practice is a way of honoring people who work with me. When it comes to the creative process, I've learned so much through persevering through what I call the messy stage. That part of the process comes up no matter what you're working on. Because a lot of people lose themselves in that messy stage. When you push through, something beautiful comes on the other side. The story of my space, it speaks to how I've evolved as an artist since I started doing art more professionally in 2014. When I first moved here, I explored the idea of renting studio space. I just looked around and said, I have all these boxes, I haven't furnished this area yet. Why don't I just make my studio apartment an art studio apartment? So now half is dedicated to making the work I do for myself as well as professionally. I am Vania Hardy, this is my space, and I am Poiema Visual Arts.